Hello, gentlemen. Hope you're doing well. Here we are, the start of a new class. This is one of three of our last courses that we have, and this is Change and Conflict Management. And this is the introduction video for that. And then the other two classes we have is the Theology of Mission, as well as Cross-Cultural Conflict. And so, or cross-cultural ministry, one of those. I'll look at the course syllabus. We're still developing those courses, but grateful guys that we're coming to the end. And I also want to share with you that we're looking at next year, February. We've been trying to land on the dates of what would work best, and we're going to propose, I believe it's the 19th or uh, the 19th and 20th, I'm sorry, of February 2027 for our graduation weekend. I'm going to put a poll in our group so that we can look at that and see what works out. There are two possible weekends, but we kind of feel that's going to be the best. And just let me say, the 19th is my wedding anniversary, but my wife said it would be okay for us to spend this time with you guys. What a great milestone it's been, and that it will be. And I am really grateful for your patience, but also for your input in the way that all of you have contributed to this class and to this entire degree program. We've learned a lot from this journey. We have started a second cohort. They're in their first class, about halfway through, developing healthy habits. That is a cohort for church planting and revitalization. In addition, we have another cohort that is a master's degree in ministerial leadership. And they've also have taken developing healthy habits, and they're now in their second class on effective leadership. And so I'm working with some great teams that are helping us put these together. We're bringing quality training, I believe, quality training that is relevant and is building people up to be more effective. In fact, I had lunch today with two of our students who are tremendous leaders already, but they both told me how much the degree program has helped them, and they're taking the Master of Ministerial Leadership and how much it has helped them to develop and continue to develop as they develop leaders around them. And so our degrees are always focused, at least the ones that I'm a part of developing, are always focused on not just preparing you to serve, but also preparing you to equip and mentor others. And I really hope that this degree program has done that for you. Again, grateful for your grace, grateful for your patience, and grateful for your participation. And so I'm excited to be on this journey with you guys. I want to say up front that this class is actually a 7 week class, but it's going over a period of 8 weeks because there is going to be a week off for Easter. And I've selected April 1st through the 7th. Easter weekend is the 5th. I know that might be different for different people, those of you who have family and kids, because of the different spring break schedules that your kids will have. Just know that I'll work with you if there's a problem, and we will work it out together. I hope things will go well. But I'm looking forward to this class, and this was a class that I felt was quite necessary for us to have. The university didn't have anything like it when we got started, and so I just felt it was very needed to deal with this. So I want to just take a moment to introduce the class for you and why we're doing it. And just know that this is only one of two videos that you have this week. The video lectures this week will be quite short. The reading's a little bit more intensive, and also the reflection. And I'm gonna stop sharing this because I want to state this to you guys. When we're putting together classes, there's three categories I'm looking at. How are they getting the information, the content of the class? How are we going to reinforce it? And how are we going to assess it? And so, what I've tried to do with you guys in this journey is to mix that up just a little bit. But the information is always being delivered through video lectures, cohort lectures, as well as the reading that we receive. And that's where the input is coming. The reinforcement of those things has either been by book review, study guides, discussion-based assessments, and our discussion questions that are posted each week, which honestly I find a lot of value from, guys. And I know that some of you are behind on those. Listen, just start where we're at from this class and catch it up, okay? Because it is a vital part for me, and I really enjoy hearing from you and how the course is impacting you, or at least that's challenging you that week. And so then the final assessment is always the three written projects, which has even been mixed up a little bit in the last few classes. So I wanted to say for this, that one, the reinforcement for your reading is going to be a personal reflection essay each week of about 200 words. And I want because of particularly in the first book, perhaps the second book will do it a little different. But in the first book, um, and many of you have probably already read this book, The Emotionally Healthy Leader. I got to be honest, it's my first time doing it, and I'm going to be reading it with you. Or I'm actually going to be listening to the audiobook with you guys as we go through this class. But I think it's really important that we process these type of topics and not just try to complete a task to get a grade. So I just want you really reflecting. And I think reflecting after each reading assignment is going to be really important and how it's impacted you. Make it a diary, a journal if you want, per se. I'm just checking to make sure it's been done. I'll glance through it a little bit, but process what you're learning through this. And I really felt, and it's one of the reasons this class was delayed by a whole week, because I just really felt that some of the books I was looking at just wasn't going to hit it. And I feel like we've chosen two solid books for this, and this book was a no-brainer after speaking with people, reflecting on it, and even seeing some of your comments about the quality of this book and how it's helped you guys, and some of you have even taught out of it, which I think is vital, and it's great to know that we're on the right path. So for some of you guys, this will be easy. Maybe just listen to the audiobook, write a reflection, and that part is done. But this week, I really wanted you to dig into the book, and that's why there's only two videos, this video and one other video. The other video is actually from the author and giving an introduction to why this book was written. And I felt after listening to it, it's worth us engaging with and hearing it. So this is going to be a great class. I'm excited for it. And so let me just get started on the introduction to lay a foundation. I do plan on providing a lot of content myself for this class, just because after 30 plus years of ministry, I've been serving in ministry since 1990 in leadership. And so, 36 years, I guess, coming up upon 36 years, a little over 35 years, I've been serving in some level of leadership in ministry. And I just want to just tell you guys that these things are inevitable. All right. So the introduction to conflict and the change in conflict management, and I coming off of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. And I won't read it all, but the thing I want to highlight more than anything is that Ecclesiastes chapter 3 reminds us that in everything there's a season, and there's a time for every matter that's under heaven, as it tells us in the ESV version in verse 1. And it goes on to tell us, there's a time to be born, there's a time to die, there's a time to plant, there's a time to pluck or harvest, there's a time to kill, there's a time to heal, there's a time to break down, there's a time to build up. And so life is made of seasons. And the reality is change and conflict. Change and conflict are two things that we're never going to be able to avoid. They are inevitable. So it's really important that we're equipped to know how to handle these things. And I just want to say that anytime that we are infringing upon the enemy's territory, anytime that we're doing something that is pointing people to Jesus, there's always going to be conflict. I'm starting this class off with the conflict portion of the class, and we'll be talking about change in the second half of the class, because I think the reality is that conflict comes from different directions, and if you don't know how to deal with conflict, you're not going to have to deal with change. And so I just felt it was important that we started this way, and the very fact that we're chosen the Emotionally Healthy Leader book as our guide for the first part of the class, and we've emphasized this over in other classes, how important it is for the spiritual, emotional, and mental health of the leader to be solid. And so one more time, we're going to pound this concept in of how important it is for you to know yourself, how important it is for you to know your God, and how important it is to have a plan to move forward. And the fact that these two things, change and conflict, or conflict and change, are inevitable things in our life. They're going to happen as we infringe upon the enemy's territory. There's going to be conflict. And if we're going to continue infringing on the enemy's territory, there's going to have to be change. I'm going to say that one more time because I think you need to write it down. Anytime that we're infringing on the enemy's territory, there's always going to be conflict. There's going to be pushback. There's going to be resistance. And the very fact that there's a sign of resistance and the very fact that there's a sign of pushback is a sign that we're doing the right thing. And anytime that we're going to advance forward and propel forward, that we just finished the strategic planning class. Anytime that we propel forward, it's important to understand that change is going to be necessary. That what got you to where you're at today is only foundational and it's not going to get you where you're at tomorrow. One of the things I listened to this week, and it actually had to do with giving, but I thought it was really good, is I've been addressing some giving issues with some leaders and just teaching on this even today, sitting at a lunch table with a group of people talking about this. But I think the reality is that we have to realize that foundational giving is 10%. The tithe is not the ceiling, it's the floor, and it's the minimal point. And if we really truly want to be conduits for God, He's going to build our faith and He's going to instruct us. There's going to have to be a greater sense of obedience for us to increase our giving. And I hope that all of us realize that that's the case, that it's not just tithes, but it's tithes and offerings. And the same way that our faith brings us to one level, tithing, that faith elevates us to be more generous. And I absolutely believe in generosity. And I just want to be a radical generosity person. I want to be radically give, just out of faith and obedience to God. Well, the same principle applies. The level of faith, just as it does with tithing, has brought you to where you're at right now. The level of obedience that has brought you to where you're at right now is going to require a higher sense of faith and obedience if you're going to propel forward. So change is required. Hard thing to hear, but it's the reality. But we have some great examples even in our cohort about change. I'm thinking about Buren and the times that he shared with us. So many of you will remember Jim Wall, Dr. Jim Wall, who spoke to us a while back about some transitions he had in ministry, and he shared some great stories with us. Dr. Wall is actually one of our cohort leaders with the European Leadership Institute, doing a phenomenal job. And so we've heard about people who have been successful in that process of change. So we're going to focus on four things and try to hit all of these throughout this course. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to develop a biblical framework for conflict. And so we're going to try to learn how to view conflict as an opportunity and not a stumbling block. We're going to focus on biblical principles, obviously Matthew 18 and how to deal with conflict. Matthew 19, or blessed are those who are the peacemakers. These are going to be some of the things that we draw from. And then we want to be reconciliation focused. So this is the framework that we're navigating through. And then to navigate change, we want to lead through revitalization. Listen, there's going to be areas of our life that we need revitalization. We're going to learn how to overcome resistance because, again, anytime that you have a problem and changes in the process, there's going to be resistance. And there's going to be resistance from some of the closest people that are working with you that believe in your work. How do you communicate that for change? We're going to learn how to manage transitions. There's been some things that I've been processing for the last couple of years, preparing for transitions. I want to equip the people around me for my absence. I have no goal to, I have no timetable on departure or withdrawing from things, but I want to see other people succeed. And I want the ministries to be prepared in case God does something different with me or through me. And this has to be intentionally done. And I'm going to tell you my drive for that is because there's great men that I love so deeply that I watched hold on to things way too long. And I saw the reaction that happened after they stepped out of their seasons or even God taking them home, the struggles that ministries have had. I don't think it has to be that way. Let's prepare the people around us for change. Let me also say that when it comes to change, it's not just the change of a leader or transitioning to other people, but it's just changing mentality and methods and systems that it's difficult, particularly the larger the group, it can often be difficult to move forward. And so we want to talk about how we can navigate change and conflict. All right. We want to be able to enhance our own skills and be the skills of those around us so that we're preparing for both change and conflict. We want to develop self-awareness within ourselves and those around us. We want to learn how to communicate better. And we've done a lot of this in this degree program. I'm talking about how to communicate vision and how to, emphasize the why and to be able to cast those things out, the meaning casting out that vision before proposing something new. I'm in the process of it right now as we are beginning to develop some change within our Antwerp campus and casting vision to the lead team. And in a few weeks, we're going to be casting that same vision that's been embraced by our lead team to the church itself. And so these are just simple steps of communicating and vision casting that helps us prepare for change. And then we want to learn how to learn. Learn comes from experience, and we want to have wisdom, and wisdom comes from learning from those experiences. And so these are just a few of the things. And then obviously cultivating a healthy church culture, which we've talked a lot about. That culture trumps vision all day long. It doesn't matter how great your vision if the culture is not healthy. All right. So we want to be proactive. We want to be able to handle conflict easily. We want to be able to have a culture of handling conflict easily, and then create a culture of peace, which I think is just awesome. And peace meaning not just that everybody's happy, but peace that people are okay with the outcome, even if it wasn't the outcome that they wanted. We'll talk more about that in the future. And so overall, we just want to be able to lean on what the scripture teaches us about change and conflict, because change and conflict are inevitable, as we've learned from Ecclesiastes. And guys, I'm excited about this journey. I'm planning on learning with you as we learn together. I'm looking forward to hearing from maybe your struggles, but also your successes and the experience that you have. And I really pray that this becomes a great encouragement to us, and that it becomes a great encouragement as we begin to move forward, but that we're being equipped to be effective in our leadership in the areas of change and conflict. Looking forward to the class, guys. If you have any questions, get back to me. And thank you again for being such great students as we move together and we move forward. God bless you. Bye-bye.